And another season of the NBA on ESPN is underway.
Let's go!
Curry for the record.
We have a liftoff.
Leonard
Oh, what is going on, beautiful people? Welcome into Hoop Streams. We're live on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and the ESPN app. I am Christine Williamson. I am in studio by myself. I may be joined by Gary Striewski very shortly, and we are getting you ready for Miami Heat versus the New York Knicks. That is coming up at 7:30 p.m. We have Roz going on Unwude to talk about that matchup in just a little bit. That'll be towards the end of the show. But before we get to that, we have to do a little NBA rewind and talk about all the things that have already happened throughout the NBA week. And we start this week with most dramatic. All right, so last night the Clippers made a 35-point comeback to beat the Wizards, and Luke Kennard's 4-point play at the buzzer sealed the deal. The off-balance shot to give the Clippers the dub. That's what we like to see. Everybody obviously very happy. But that, however, was not the biggest milestone this week. By now, you have probably seen Steph Curry drain that buzzer beater to beat the Rockets. But some folks might not have realized that that was his first ever game-winning buzzer beater. He himself didn't believe it either, in fact. So listen to his reaction after the game.
You know, in 5 seconds, you can get to space, take your time, and then we got great space, so I got to my spot. And it's about time I made one. That's the first one!
Because this is also unbelievable. The crowd at the Bulls Magic game absolutely could not believe that dunk by Jalen Suggs. I mean, jaws were dropped. The kid has bunnies. The kid has bunnies. That's what we love to see. I feel like I met Jalen Suggs, and he was about my height, so I could probably do that too. Wouldn't have the best moves though, because that goes to Caleb Martin, who hit the Blazers with that nasty spin move. But of course, the real moves, those come from Chris Silva on the bench. Not exactly sure what that is, if it's like a cha-cha, salsa, unsure. All right, most confused. Last night, the Lakers got the win on the road against Brooklyn behind LeBron James's 33 points. But Austin Reeves definitely was not picking up whatever he was putting down. Because, I mean, first of all, he's a young kid. Sometimes it might be hard. They might speak two different languages. You know, the age difference, he didn't understand what exactly LeBron was saying, and was probably a little bit intimidated. I would imagine being his teammate is a little bit intimidating. All right, the next one we got, best nickname.
Feel like Black Jesus. Yeah.
What did you do with that?
Sit back for this one.
I would imagine, first of all, I was going to say something else, but I have nobody here to talk about it, so never mind. But that was just very interesting. It was super interesting. Yeah, Black Jesus. We love it.
This is Kobe Bryant. This is Jam Session coming at you.
81 points for Kobe.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win.
Are you made for this?
These are the type of moments that I live for.
You gotta show.
5 rings. 5 of them. I told you was gonna get it, man.
You gotta show them.
All right, Gary finally joining the show. And Gary, it has been 2 years since the helicopter crash that claimed Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gianna, and 7 other passengers. And obviously, as we just saw, Kobe racked up a lot of accolades, a lot of accomplishments. But he also inspired the next generation to embody his Mamba mentality, right? So we're going to talk about some players now, today, that are still playing that we believe embody the Mamba mentality. And we're going to start with the guy, Devin Booker. And a lot of people like to compare the two players, D-Book and Kobe Bryant. But one thing about Devin Booker, even though he idolized Kobe Bryant, he actually didn't really like the comparison. And you know, they knew each other pretty well, but listen to what he had to say.
The only problem I have is people still comparing me to Kobe Bryant when I told them in the playoffs, stop bringing up Mamba mentality. I'm inspired by Kobe Bryant and Mamba mentality, but I am not Kobe Bryant. And people are out here yelling Mamba mentality from the mama's house. I'll leave you with that.
So I would imagine that Devin Booker, because he knew him, because he looked up to him, if he's being compared to him on a regular basis, he probably doesn't want to keep hearing that over and over again. But a lot of people do like to compare him to Kobe Bryant. So, G, what do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of people liken sort of styles of play to Kobe Bryant, but we've got to remember that heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? I mean, Kobe Bryant, at this point, to this generation of players, is a mythological being. Ever since he passed, right? They're hoarding his sneakers because, of course, he doesn't have the deal with Nike anymore. They're trying to channel every single bit of what Kobe represented every single time he laced them up and stepped on the court. However, that is an unattainable bar when you think about what Kobe Bryant was actually able to do and manifest the championships. And basically every single other player in the NBA on any given night was Kobe Bryant's mortal enemy, right? And that's just not the way today's NBA is set up. You don't have that hate and that vitriol that, you know, Kobe was able to sort of muster up any given night to go for next. So I think Devin Booker trying to let off the gas a little bit is more so out of respect than anything else, just because he holds Kobe in such high acclaim.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then obviously D-Book had that amazing bubble season the same year that Kobe passed away. And so everybody was like, whoa, he's really channeling the Mamba mentality in this moment. But like you said, heavy is the head that wears the crown. Nobody wants to be compared to Kobe Bryant on a regular basis because Kobe meant so much to the game. All right, let's move on.
And let me just add this real quick, because he went bananas, right? In the freaking bubble, and they went however many in a row to start things off. A lot of people would have said, well, Kobe would have got him to the problem. Kobe would have put the team on his back and won the championship. Of course, the Lakers and LeBron did, but that's just another example of like that player being likened to Kobe, but not quite crossing that threshold that makes him what Kobe embodied every night.
Yeah, that's very true. All right, another guy that I think embodied Kobe in some ways, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. So one of the things that Kobe Bryant was most legendarily known for is his work ethic. And I actually watched something that Kobe Bryant voiced for ESPN when he was talking about how hard Giannis worked to be where he currently is today. And so he definitely is in some ways embodying what Kobe meant to the game. G, what do you say?
So I think the one glaring difference between Giannis and Kobe is like Giannis, and all due respect, obviously, to Kobe Bryant, but Giannis is like a likable guy. Even when he steps foot in opposing arenas, people are like, I want to go see Giannis. You know, hey, he dunks Oreos and he has a good time. He's just discovering smoothies and hot dogs. Kobe didn't get that when he went to opposing arenas. Like, I grew up in Denver in the mid-2000s when every single time he stepped foot in Pepsi Center, all you could hear was booze. All you could hear was booze. And that's because people loved to hate Kobe because they knew at any given second he can flip a switch and take over a game, which Giannis can do, but the opposing team's fans would be like, there goes Giannis again, taking over a game. Kobe never got that treatment in opposing arenas.
Right. That's very true. That's very true. The one thing, too, that I saw that Giannis said after he won a championship, because somebody asked him about Kobe Bryant, and he was saying, you know, Kobe told him that he believed he could win a championship. Like Kobe told Giannis that. And so one thing, because Giannis said he's a people pleaser and he doesn't want to let people down, he was like, I cannot let Kobe Bryant down. Like I have to win a championship. And so I believe that like part of the mentality in general, just because, you know, he talked to him and he spoke to him and he told him, hey, you can win a championship, also carried over. Now, you mentioned that Giannis doesn't have that type of personality. Like everybody loves Giannis and they're like, Giannis is such a nice guy. I believe that one guy who a little bit more embodies that, we don't like him personality is Kevin Durant, right?
Oh, that's fact. Oh, that's fact.
But like,
and that's
also,
that's a recent thing-ish.
You think?
Ish. Like I'm talking back half of his Golden State tenure, and then definitely with Brooklyn, and a lot has to do with him, you know, clapping back outside of a basketball game, right? Like he's attacking trolls and things like that. But one thing is for certain, both of those dudes are absolute assassins on the court. So if we're talking like straight up game comparisons, like, all right, who is the Kobe right now in terms of you could take over games, score at will? It's obviously Kevin Durant.
And I think the other thing too is like you want KD taking the shot when the game is on the line. Like that's who you want the ball to go to. Not James Harden, no offense. Not Kyrie Irving. Like you want the ball in KD's hand, correct?
Those guys have even said, James Harden and Kyrie, I'm pretty sure have said, yo, we want Kevin Durant to shoot the ball. Like, hey, yo, we want KD to shoot this rock. Just like the early 2K Lakers, right? Lamar Odom and Pau Gasol, like, they were, you know, the big three back then, and they're like, we don't want the last shot. We need to get it to Kobe. Everybody run the get the ball to Kobe play. And I feel like KD and Steph are that iteration in today's NBA.
I would agree.
Run the get the ball to those guys play. My dog's in the background right now. Sorry.
Hey, homie, what's good? Okay, let's talk a little bit about Joel Embiid. I watched something. Just a reminder, Joel Embiid started playing basketball in 2011, and he said that he watched the 2010 NBA Finals, and that was what made him want to convince his father to let him play basketball. He watched Kobe Bryant in that finals. So, of course, a huge part of who Kobe was goes into Joel Embiid's probably mindset and his game. G?
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's putting the whole team on his back. Every single thing runs through him, and he has Philly a legitimate title contender solely based off of how he produces every single night, a la what Kobe did for the Lakers.
Yeah, he's the number one guy, right? He's the number one guy on that squad. All right, let's go to Dame Dalla. And I'm going to let you talk about the fact that you actually talked to Dame Lillard about his comparisons to Kobe Bryant and how he kind of embodies what Kobe Bryant meant for the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'll make this quick. I remember we were at Staples Center the first game back post the helicopter crash, and Dame Lillard led his Blazers into a very, very emotionally set Staples Center. He went off for something like 40 points. The Blazers won. I interviewed him at half court. And, you know, obviously with the circumstances surrounding it, it was Kobe Bryant heavy. And he was saying, listen, it is every single player's in the league's responsibility now to carry the tradition of what Kobe represented every single night when we played. So he didn't want to be likened to Kobe Bryant either. But I did mention that in our production meeting just because, listen, he's a loyal dude. He wants to stay in Portland. Obviously, he's injured, so we're going to have to see how he returns after surgery. But when I think of like a Kobe Bryant killer, man on his back, a team on his back, I immediately thought Dame Lillard, and then I immediately thought of the performance he had the very first game back in Staples Center.
All right, we now welcome in former baller, current king of NBA Twitter, Josiah Johnson. So happy that you are joining us. It's a really big deal to have a king on our show. I want to talk about the fact that you are the king of NBA Twitter, and you guys you have a lot of co-signers. One King James is one of them. But I wanted to ask you, because obviously you're huge, but like a lot of people interact with you on a regular basis. What has been the best interaction that you've had on Twitter?
And I don't believe in titles, so other people call me the king. I'm just Josiah, but try to stay humble in these streets, and don't believe my own hype. But honestly, definitely LeBron James. Definitely him giving me that cosign back in June during the playoffs last year, showing a lot of love. John Legend, another guy who I have a tremendous amount of respect for.
just gave me another cosign within the last week or two. And then also Ava DuVernay, who said that she sends my memes to Oprah in group chat. So definitely those three. That it's like the triple crown of just legendariness. So have people like that rocking with me instead of a tremendous experience.
Josiah, that's all good, well, and fine. And obviously you have a long list of A-listers that continuously show you love. But I think so strong is you're the everyman, okay? From guys like me to die hard, into Twitter games for the very time. Everybody gets directed your way, which is incredible. So applaud you for that and just dominating every single night there's an NBA game. I say that to ask you this. You mentioned LeBron James. You're a California guy, so I got to ask you about the 8th seed Lakers, currently 500 on the season, 24-24. I think I know how you're going to answer this question. Are they a playoff team? Are they going to figure it out?
We hope so. I mean, it's been tough for Lakers fans. Been kind of, glimmer of hope here and there. Then, they followed up with some dismal play. But it seems like now that AD's back, they got the squad kind of figuring it all out. Hopefully we get Kendrick Nunn soon. Trade deadline coming up, so I'm sure they're going to do some moving and shaking. Rob Pelinka really got to get to work some magic. But, I think a lot of people in Laker Nation are down on Westbrook right now. But I think Russ is going to get it together. And if there's anything we see from Russ, he's slow to start the season, but come February, March, he picks it up, gets it together. So I think this squad is going to make some noise. And if we get to the playoffs, nobody wants that Laker phase. So let's just keep it real.
That's very true.
Listen, I'm going to tell you that, Christine. You can pick it up from there. I'm just going to say that Russell Westbrook is definitely going to figure it out in a right? He's going to be figuring it out from somewhere else. That's my prediction.
True.
I don't know, C-Dub, what do you got?
Yeah, they have a lot of things to figure out. One thing that is also going to be figured out is the All-Star Game starters. And, the last few years, there's been a lot of controversy surrounding the All-Star Game. And so I don't know if you have anything controversial to say, but I'll just ask you, what are your predictions for the All-Star Game?
Look, all we were caring about was getting LeBron the most votes. We worked our magic. Shout out to Lake Show Yo and the rest of the crew in the Laker Nation that really, really worked our magic, got it together, got him the most votes. All-Star Game predictions, just to be real, I'm not really a big advocate for the fan vote anyway. I feel like a lot of fans are casuals. They don't really understand basketball and what they're watching. Neither here nor there. But, I'm excited to see LeBron, Steph play. We'll see what ends up happening in that game. And Cleveland, we're going to be pulling up on you. Hopefully it's going to be turned up. Hopefully that weather's going to be nice. I already checked the forecast. It's looking like 20s, 30s. So we need to get that up to the 50s, 60s so we get some LA love out there.
It's going to be brick. I'm going to just tell you right now, it's going to be brick.
I ain't got a jacket. I don't got a jacket. T-shirts only. So you're going to see me out there teed up. I'm going to have to be, with some heaters and all that good stuff going down.
The beautiful thing about Cleveland is right there around the arena, all the hotels and places you're going to be staying at, and the casino, which is going to be popping, which is right next to the arena. Everything's connected by Skybridge, so you're good. Just get yourself a light fleece or walking from the airport terminal outside to the Uber, and then from the Uber to the hotel. Other than that, you can pretty much stay inside in Cleveland. All right, I digress from the All-Star game. Although All-Star James Harden already saying he's going to explore options after this season. In my estimation, if you're a star hooper, if you're on the A-list of elite hoopers in the NBA, every single day is an effort and exploration because you can force your way out of any situation. Do you see?
I'm sorry, Mr. What was the question?
Gee, what'd you say? We didn't hear that.
I was going to say, James Harden saying he's going to explore some of his options if and when the time comes, voicing a little bit of frustration. So if and when the time comes that James Harden is no longer a net, Josiah, do you already have things saved in the draft?
Nothing saved in the draft. Clips always loaded. I'm a real-time tweeter, so I really react to whatever's going on in the world. Don't really like to have stuff saved away and planned. I just try to have these clips ready for any moment and can just get them out in a jiffy. So, like I said, I don't really do a lot of preparation in advance because I find you kind of burn yourself when you do things like that. But, I might have some cheesesteak memes ready because it feels like Harden's going to be heading over to Philly, and, we'll see if they can get that Ben Simmons trade cracking.
Okay, so obviously your memes go viral. They're great. Mwah. Before we let you go, we have to ask you, who are your top 3 meme-worthy NBA players?
Ooh, top 3. Number 1, always LeBron, just consistent memes. I'm going to say 2, Austin Reeves and Caruso are tied. They're both, Caruso used to hold that title. Then Austin Reeves came in. Lakers Nation was quick to keep it going. And then 3, KD. But KD's tough because, if he catches you making memes out of him, there's a good chance he's going to put you on that Summer Jam screen.
Ooh, yeah.
So you got to be ready. And he's like Omar for the wire. When he pulls up on the block clears because, he's coming with that heat. But definitely those 3 guys.
KD coming.
Yeah, you already know. KD's coming with the heat. Run for cover. I don't want that fade.
Exactly. I was going to say, nobody wants that. I would never in my life. It's like the one thing that I fear is saying anything bad about Kevin Durant on TV because, I don't want any of those problems. Well, thank you so much, Josiah, for joining us. We're so happy that you joined us today. We're not worthy, honestly.
You're definitely worthy. I need that ESPN bag.
Hey.
Tell Dave Roberts, send me the bag. Send the Raleigh. But I appreciate y'all having me on.
Awesome. Thanks. Oh my gosh, we love it. We love it. G, one thing that I love about you is you're very consistent. You typically only rock black tees, and today you're wearing a red overcoat. I don't know if that's a flannel or
Correct.
What that is, but
it is a flannel.
Congratulations on that. However,
also real quick, I know this is a basketball show, but this is my homage to David Ortiz getting into
look at you.
the Hall of Fame.
Big Poppy,
so,
shout out.
It's topical.
Shout out.
That's my guy. So anyway.
I know. I saw your post on Instagram. Everybody go see Gary's Instagram. He has pictures with David Ortiz. Okay. Anyways, I was trying to talk to you about your style because I am a person that firmly believes that if you look good, you feel good, and you play really good. So we're going to do a quick style rankings of the top 5 players. Actually, it's 6, but top 5 well-dressed players in the NBA. All right, and we're going to start with number 5. And the reason this guy is number 5 is because he's consistent. That is one Jason Tatum, okay? The dude, here's what I mean by consistency. First of all, he's always wearing a pair of J's.
Yep.
Right? But he's not casual, right? He's relaxed. Okay. Look at him with the chunky dunkies on. Those shoes that he has on his feet.
Look?
Yes, he's relaxed. He has on Ben and Jerry Jordans. Here he has a pair of Would you ever wear these pants?
Hell no. C-Dub, no. You preface this whole segment with how I'm a simpleton and how I just wear the same thing every single day of the week. And this is why this is your segment, because you got style, you got grace, and you are the right person to be critiquing and breaking down these outfits. So if you say it's fire, I'm just going to say cosign.
Okay, so he's number 5 because he's very consistent. Let's go to number 4. That is one, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And here's why for him. He is extremely coordinated. You see him in the all black, right? He has a Balenciaga puffer vest right here, right? So he just drops a little bit of designer there. But when I say he's coordinated everything, it's almost like he finds one thing. Like those Rick Owens shoes. He has the J's here, the leather puffer jacket. So like, I feel like this could be your vibe. It's like if you were to step it up five more times. If you stepped up your style like 5 times, you would be what he did. But he's wearing black a lot, so I feel like you could do that.
Here's the thing though, like the difference between those guys and us is they got NBA money, so they got NBA wardrobe money.
Oh,
all right.
Oh, you want to see some money? Let's go to number 3.
That's a whole month of play.
Let's go to number 3 because this is actual shmoney, right? We got CP3, the OG, and Devin Booker. I call him Hollywood because this man didn't used to dress like this before he was in Hollywood for whatever reason. You know the reasons. Even though he does like to wear Chucks, but these guys consistent. And I love when D Book pulls out the monochromatic looks, the Bottega bag, like they're holding it down out in Phoenix.
And I'm going to tell you right now, C-Dub, I know that you think I fly under the radar, but I'm privy to this stuff. And that's the thing that I noticed. That Bottega Veneta bag is clutch. That's one of those things like if you know, it's not heavily branded. It's nothing like that. But if you see the cross-stitch leather, you know that's that BV and it's beautiful. So I can agree with you on those.
I also want to shout out CP3's stylist, Courtney Mays. She's a woman and she's absolutely killing it. CP3 isn't doing that on his own, just so you know. Neither is Devin Booker, but we can talk about that next time. All right, let's go to this guy because I would say that Kyle Kuzma is extremely versatile because he can do anything. First of all, he has Alexander McQueen shoes on the regular. Here he is in a Louis Vuitton denim fit, head to toe. You talking NBA money? Now, I want to talk about this fit for a second because could you ever?
No, he bit Yeezy with that. He bit Ye's, going full mask with the puffer coat. And listen, I was gonna say that I agree with you on everything, but I'm gonna be honest with you, Kyle Kuzma sometimes is just too OD with the stuff he does. I know we gotta show the pink knit sweater that he pulled up in that was 87 times too large.
The Raph Simmons sweater? No, we're not gonna show that. But do you know what Raph Simmons? That's like up here. That's up here. Right?
See, so I understand, but I'm just saying sometimes it's a little OD. Okay?
It's not too much. It's not too much. It's called style. And speaking of style, the number one, if you're talking about OD, let's go Jordan Clarkson, okay? Because he doesn't care. This man is unapologetic.
What was Jordan Clarkson in Scotland?
Hey, that was at New York Fashion Week, okay? He understood the assignment. He knew exactly what he was doing. But when I say he's unapologetic, like the man is wearing skirts. He's wearing knit bags. Sometimes he wears designer bags. Sometimes he does designer. Sometimes he does what I like to call grunge. So he's extremely versatile. Yeah. He can do it all.
That's fire, but it's like a sore thumb sticking out in Utah. And I will say this, he knows where the cameras are because, C-Dub, I was home for my birthday last week and me and some homies were having some dinner and the whole Utah Jazz team walked into the restaurant that we were at and he was just in a black hoodie. So he knows when the cameras are rolling and when they're going to be. Otherwise, he's super low profile, super calm. All right? He knows where the cameras are. But I agree with you. Jordan Clarkson, mwah.
He's extreme. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. If he's in a black hoodie, he don't care. He's unapologetic. That's why we love him.
When did he go to Scotland?
He was in New York. He was in New York, okay?
I'm not here because only when their team is fully healthy and they will have their entire roster, they are one of the top 3 teams in this league.
The way he competes and puts himself out there just screams Miami Heat culture.
This league is hard, man. It's hard to win games in this league. It's super hard, no matter who you playing, man.
I'm sitting there making bets, talking about how the New York Knicks, we here. New York, stand up. Y'all sit the hell down. Get the damn act together.
All right, Knicks versus Heat tips off in just a few minutes, and we welcome in our good sis, Unwude, to talk about this game because she's there and she's holding it down. Girl, what's up? How are you?
What's up? I miss you guys so much. How are you? You've been crushing it, by the way. Shout out to you for the college football coverage. Very proud.
Ditto, sis. You've been killing it on the NBA sideline, NBA Today. We see you all over the place, and we, of course, love to see it. So let's talk about this matchup. There's been a lot of injuries. There's been a lot of COVID interruptions, but the Heat have somehow found themselves at the top of the East. So what is the team's identity right now at this moment in the season?
Yeah, I was speaking with Bam Adebayo, and I asked him that, and I loved the words he used. He said, junkyard dogs, because he's been out, Jimmy's been out, Tyler's been out, Kyle's been out. There's been all sorts of disruptions, and somehow they still sit at the top of the East, and we haven't even seen a full version of what they can do. Basically, they got players that can play, next man up mentality, people who are hungry, and no matter who they line up against, they're ready to fight. Also, Jimmy Butler gave me the identity of, I want to be a tough defensive, tough-nosed defensive team. We want to be a team that leans more on our defense than our offense.
Roz, that's such a stark contrast. Aesthetic, Miami, right? You talk about our dog, you talk about being a nitty-gritty defensive team, and then we're just in Miami for the Orange Bowl. You mentioned college football, and it's palm trees, and it's exotic cars, it's glass everywhere. So it's interesting that the team is adopting that talent, and interesting that you were talking about Io. Of course, he's returning from a bum thumb, but he's playing as if he didn't miss any time. How has he been able to fit in and reincorporate himself so seamlessly?
I mean, Bam has a lot of energy, but he has admitted, though, his conditioning is not fully there yet. He does feel winded in his minutes. He told me when I spoke to him, he said sometimes he finds himself looking up at the clock and wondering when the sub is coming. And a lot of that is because he plays so hard and he's kind of having to pace himself right now. So some of the things that he's doing is, extra bike work before practice, coming in early to get extra work, get his conditioning up. But Jimmy Butler talked about the energy, the fit of having him back. And he said he is the engine that makes us go. He cleans up a lot of the mistakes for his teammates, does Bam. And, Bam takes a lot of pride in having that kind of motor, energy, and all of that. So the conditioning is catching up and heading in the right direction. But he's someone that just affects the game on both sides. And energy is contagious.
You mentioned how Bam is winded. He's coming off of a thumb injury while Tyler Hero is coming out of health and safety protocols, which could also make him winded. So what's his status tonight?
Well, he's playing, and no minutes restriction. I did speak with Coach. He did say he had some symptoms with the positive COVID test. He had coughing and body aches, but the worst part for him was the fact that he had to sit at home and do nothing. So literally on Monday, he was officially cleared at 8:30 p.m., and he was so hungry to get to the gym. He told me, I was at the gym at 8:45, getting up shots, playing at pace, trying to get his rhythm, his lungs, his legs back. That's been his biggest concern. As far as his mind, nothing has changed. This is a guy who told me his mindset coming off of the bench is to kill everybody. And he also said, even though I'm coming off the bench, I feel like a starter. This is somebody who has a lot of confidence in who he is as a basketball player, regardless if it's coming off the bench or starting the game. So he's ready to go, no minutes restriction, and he's hungry to play.
We are not at all surprised that Mr. Miami himself, I feel like Tyler Hero embodies Miami, that he's confident, all right? Right? Like, even since he was in college, he said he was a bucket. Yep. He embodies that completely. Okay, so let's go to the other side of the ball. The Knicks, they're not doing as great, losing 4 of the last 5 and sitting 11th in the East. How is Tibbs getting his team ready to go throughout the rest of the season?
He's challenging them for more toughness. He said it to the media publicly, challenging them in the media. He's challenging them in the locker room, challenging them in practice to be tougher. And I asked him, Coach, where does toughness actually translate and show itself on the court? He said it's physical, it's mental, it's emotional. Physical toughness, he wants to see them making hustle plays, making the extra effort plays. Mental toughness, he talked about what's your face like? Do you have a strong face when things aren't going your way? Do you know what we're running? Do you know what the right plays are? And then finally, emotional toughness. And this one's tough. He said, sometimes I'm asking guys to do things that doesn't feel like it's the best thing for the individual, but I want to see that they have the discipline to do what's best for the team. And that's what he's challenging his players for. And I asked a few of them, including Randall, including RJ, and they both said, we could be more tough.
I mean, they're going to have to be more tough if they have a guy on the opposite team saying that he wants to kill everybody. Right?
That part.
All right, thanks so much, Rod. Can't wait to see you throughout the broadcast.
Absolutely. Nice to hang with y'all.
All right, guys, that's all we got for you on Hoop Streams. I got the Heat. G, who do you have?
The Heat.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it sounds very dangerous out there, honestly, for the Knicks. Thanks for watching Hoop Streams. We'll be back next Wednesday, and Gary will be in studio with me. So we'll see you then.
I hope. Peace out, C-Dub.